Good morning, traders. Welcome to this week's ELLIOTTWAVE Forex and Cryptocurrency Market Analysis webinar. I hope you all had a great week. Right, guys, this is the last weekly outlook for the year 2021. The next one is going to resume on the 9th of January. Right, so we're going to get started now. If you'd like to contact us, you can do so by going onto our YouTube channel. Under the description of all our videos, you'll find our social media pages. That is Facebook, Twitter, as well as our website. Please note that we have got a brand new website. The new link for the website is trading-waves.com. So don't go to the old one. We're using the new website. So as I've said, the next webinar is going to be on the 9th of January 2022. So if you'd like to get the course in the meantime while we are off, you can do so by going onto our website and you can purchase the course there. It is pre-recorded, so you can watch the full course over the holidays. So let's get started with this week's analysis. Right, so this video here that you see on YouTube, this is last week. This is how we started last week. So if you remember last week, what we were looking for in the on the DXY, this is the DXY, so if you can just note. So this is just the recording from last week. So, and just to show you what we're expecting. We're expecting that the DXY is going to make one more move to the downside and continue to the upside, because we were not seeing this as a reversal. We're seeing this as a continuation pattern. So let's have a look at how the market is performing and what we expect of what we expect going into the new week. Right, so this is the very same chart. We were here. Let's just cut it. Let's just cut the chart here. We'll cut it here. So this is where we were last week. So the anticipation was that the DXY is going to make one more move to the downside and push to the upside. So let's see how this has played out so far. So what has happened here is that the DXY has now done a move like this, and it has come back down like this, and then we are pushing to the upside. So this is the expectation here. We've just made a candle, single candle currently. So we've made a move up here. We've come back down here. We currently just made a candle to the upside here. What is the expectation? This is the daily chart. So we'll be expecting the DXY to continue with the consolidation and continue with a new move to the upside. Let's have a look at how that market has played out. Let's just play this one quickly. It's just a few candles. This is a daily chart. So it's just 5 candles from last week, 5 days. So that's how the market has played out. Went a little bit up here, made what looks like a reversal, came back down, and then we are pushing to the upside like that. So that is how this is playing out. We are currently here. This is where we are currently. What do we expect here? So we've got this as a structure coming down. We've got this as a 3 waves to the downside. We've got this as another move to the downside. Can we look at this as a regular flat and expect this one to just continue to the upside? That is a possibility, but we're going to look into detail on the 4-hour chart. Let's have a look at the 4-hour chart. Right, so let's have a look here. Let's switch everything off there. So we can actually accept this as a regular flat, as having played a regular flat. So this is a 3 waves down, this is a 3 waves to the upside, this is a 3-wave move to the downside. Now this can be a regular flat, and we can start looking for a move to the upside on the DXY. So if the DXY is going to push to the upside, obviously we'll expect the euro to continue to the downside. So let's have a look at how the euro is going to perform. Let's have a look at the euro. So this is the euro, exactly the same chart as the DXY. So looking at the euro, there's also this possibility. If you look at this chart, it's exactly the same chart. I'm going to go back to the DXY and show you this version as well. We've got 1, 2, 3 possibility for the euro to come down here. Now, the full structure here, the full corrective structure can be a structure like this, where this becomes a WXY structure, and then we make a move to the downside. So the euro may not just go straight to the downside like that. We may get a bounce back here at the structural level and make a pullback to around this level, giving us this corrective structure for a continuation move to the downside. Let's have a look at the DXY and just have a look at a very similar scenario. So the DXY is also similar. We could be looking at this as a corrective structure, looking at this one to have done 1, 2, 3. Then the full structure, just like the DXY, would be 1, 2. The whole purple degree would be a B degree, or rather X degree, before we get a move to the upside. Is that what we're going to get? That is also a possibility. Either we're going to get one pullback to the downside, or this is a full structure, as we've indicated in the first scenario. So let's see how this is going to play out. This will be a nice WXY structure. If it plays out like this, then you are able to hop onto the DXY or the dollar index for upside, meaning the US dollar will continue its strength into the festive season. Right, so that's how we're looking at the DXY and the euro. Pound US dollar. So pound US dollar, the structure that we were expecting last week, which was a simple 3-wave correction, has now played out. We are now looking for this one to start making a continuation move to the downside. So look for continuation move to the downside. Remember what we've been looking for on the pound. So even if it was making a move to the upside last week, did indicate that the pound US dollar could be long-term downside for a couple of hundreds of pips to the downside because of this bigger corrective structure that we're looking at here. And that corrective structure, if you look here on the purple degree, you'll see that we've got, let's just have a look at this one here. So that is an ABC corrective structure, the big structure here, ABC, and the bigger one here. Let's see here what we've got. We've also got an ABC in the higher degree. So we are looking at this one to be possibly having completed the C here, Mr. B here. That's our B degree here. So ABC, so we could be long-term downside. We're not going to take it in one go, but this is definitely a continuation pattern to the downside. But what we need to get here is a deeper one that comes back to around this area. So what we've got here is that we're going to continue to the downside. We're still going to get a pullback, a deeper one, before a continuation move like that. So even if you're getting this setup here on the 4-hour, just be careful that this is not the one that's going to go down. This one is too small to be the move that goes down. We're going to need a deeper one. So, but this is going to continue to the downside in the next couple of sessions, but we're going to get a deeper one eventually. So that is pound US dollar. US dollar CAD continues to push to the upside. Nothing new there. We have been looking at this structure on US dollar CAD for some time. So this is the structure that we're looking at on US dollar CAD, and it's playing out exactly as forecasted. One, that's a move to the upside. That's a 3-wave structure. This is another 3-wave pullback. We're expecting US dollar CAD to push to the upside to around 134. But again, there's also a possibility for this to have made 1, 2, 3 down, 1, 2, 3 up, and for this to make another 1, 2, 3 to the downside before we get that yellow to the upside. So that's the first possibility. There's a second possibility, but whichever one is going to be confirmed, and we're going to be able to know what happens with that. So that is a US dollar CAD still pushing to the upside. Let's have a look at this on the 4-hour. Now, US dollar CAD on the 4-hour, let's see how this is playing out. We're still seeing this one as a continuation to the upside. We're still going to see more upside here. Even if we get a 1-hour pullback, we're still expecting this to push to the upside. We will get some correction at some point here. So the indicator, as much as this is pushing to the upside, for the second scenario, the indicator is not showing us a confirmation of that move. So far, the supported move is for this to break up here in a straight line. Even if we pull back, we still push up to around 134 for that structure. Right, US dollar CHF. Right, let's have a look at the US dollar CHF on the 4-hour. It looks like we are building up this corrective structure here. We've got a move to the upside. We've got a move back here, and we've expecting this move to the upside. Now, if we look at this in detail, we had a pulse move here. This is a 3-wave move here. This is 1, 2, 3. This is another very nice looking structure. It's a very nice looking structure. It looks complex when you look at it. So we'll be looking for this one to either be an impulse or a 3-wave structure like the rest. Now we would have this one here, WXY on US dollar CHF. A very nice WXY structure. Can we get a pullback and continuation to the upside? It's a very likely possibility on US dollar CHF. Now, if that plays out, we'll expect US dollar CHF to give us an even bigger corrective structure like that before we push to the upside. So let's see how that's going to play out. That is US dollar CHF. Still looking for it to push to the upside. Could pull back slightly for another continuation move to the upside. Dollar index is showing strength, so we expect that to happen. Right now, looking at Audi US dollar, we expected Audi US dollar to make a 3-wave move to the upside and continue to the downside. We have been bearish all the pairs that have got the US dollar as the quoted currency. So this has made a move to the upside. We actually wanted it to get to around this level, but that does not disqualify the structure. It is still a valid structure. We've got that as a zigzag there, and then we're looking for this one to continue to push to the upside. It's not going to go down in a straight line. We're going to have a slight pullback before continuation to the downside. Now the New Zealand is similar. Let's just go back one to the daily hour. I always like you to see the bigger picture and why we're expecting this to play out the way we are. So this is 3, this is 3. We're expecting this to make another 3. So as much as this is going to continue to the downside in the next coming session, we are still expecting this deeper pullback, similar scenario to the pound. We want a deeper pullback for this to continue with a move to the downside. That will complete that structure the same way we've had this one here. Then we would have had a perfect double correction here as follows, WXY. So we're expecting a pullback and continuation to the downside to around this level. So that is New Zealand. It's a similar structure with the AUD. US dollar ZAR correlated with US dollar CAD, currently consolidating here. These levels will expect US dollar ZAR to continue weakness against the US dollar. So that is the move that we're expecting, a continuation down here and a push to the upside. Let's have a look at this in the lower degree on the 4-hour. Now looking at US dollar ZAR on the 4-hour, still building up a structure here. So there's two possibilities here, but either one of them will give us the same bias. Now the one here is that we have made the 3 waves. This is now the 3 waves, and we're going to make another 3 waves before we push to the upside. Right, so another possibility, want to try and do it over this one, overlay it on this one. So let's look at the purple degree. You'll see that it will not make any difference as far as the structure is concerned. So this one on the purple, you will see that the B is a flat, and this one, the first one here, this is assuming that this is the orthodox low for this leg here. So that is the difference between the two structures, but either one of them, whether this one becomes complex or becomes a double correction, does not make any difference. The bias will still be the same. We will look for the for US dollar ZAR to continue with the bullish move to the upside around those levels. Pound yen. Right, pound yen, just like a pound US dollar, we're expecting this to push to the downside for many, many pips to the downside. So that is a pullback, 3-wave pullback that we've been anticipating. If you check last week's video, we have been anticipating just this to give us a deeper correction. Still not deep enough. We can get an entry here, but just be mindful of the fact that even if we drop here, we are still going to get a deeper corrective structure. But this is almost confirming that we're going to see a move to the downside. Let's just go back to the daily so you can remember why we are bearish pound yen. Remember, we have been looking at this structure as well. There's a possibility for this structure. Okay, now the entry that you've just shown here on the 4-hour is this one here showing us downside. This structure is still valid, so that means there's still a possibility for this one more up before we drop. Okay, so for now you can get this entry. Indicator is supporting a move to the downside until this is going to give us a reversal here. Then this move to the downside is still valid. Why are we bearish pound yen? Because similar to US dollar, pound US dollar, we have got this bigger corrective structure. That's the bigger corrective structure, which is a regular flat. And let's have a look at this one in purple. That is a 1, 2, 3 to the upside, 1, 2, 3 to the downside, and 5 waves to the upside. A classic case of a 3-3-5 regular flat correction. So that is what we have there on this degree. So we'll be looking for this to start making a move to the downside back to around this level. That is the expectation on pound yen. Let's see how that plays out. Right, US dollar yen. Now, US dollar yen, we've been anticipating a reversal from last week from current levels. It's a bit tricky because the US dollar is showing strength. Will US dollar yen drop and go against the US dollar? It is very well possible to happen like that, but this is not yet supported by the indicator. This is giving us a structural move for downside. So the downside here, because it's not supported, even if we do get it, it may just be a pullback in 3 waves before we push to the upside. So let's watch that for the next coming session and see how US dollar yen is going to behave. Right, so let's see here. It is not that bearish, but we will be looking for this one to give us at least a move back to around this level. So a 3-wave move back to around this level is the expectation on US dollar yen. So we'll take that one wave at a time. US dollar yen, rather euro yen, we anticipated this last week as well. So we've been looking for pullbacks. They're not as deep as we wanted them to be. So that means we are still going to get deeper moves. So that is a 3-wave pullback. We'll expect this one to make a continuation move to the downside. That is euro yen, right? So euro yen, similarly, remember we've discussed all these yen structures a couple of weeks back, that they all have this structure which needs to be invalidated. Whichever one is going to invalidate first. For example, if the euro invalidates this structure, that means we know we will know that the pound yen will also invalidate the structure as well because they go together. So we've got an entry here. We'll be looking for this one to continue to the downside. There is no indication of a reversal or for this structure to play out. That is on euro yen. Let's see how that goes. So we are bearish. The three-wave pullback has happened. We still expect this to continue lower. On euro yen, chief yen. Right, so chief yen does not necessarily have that structure, but I'll show you why we anticipate that chief yen will push to the downside. This has also not yet been confirmed. As good as this structure looks, we want to see this one push to the downside in a clear close below the line there. So let's have a look at chief yen, the bigger structure, and why we're expecting this to be bearish over the long term. But however, you need to note that that move is not yet confirmed. Chief yen has got this bigger corrective structure, which looks like a zigzag. That's a move up here in 3. That's a move back here in 3. And that's a move back up here in 5. Now, this move here is not yet confirmed by the indicator. Even if we drop here, the indicator is not confirmed as yet. We will confirm around this level, but you can take a trade around this level on the 4-hour as far as the chief is concerned. Let's go back to the 4-hour on the chief. So if you look at the 4-hour on the chief, very nice looking setup here for downside. We've got a clear case of a complex corrective structure there with 1, 2, 3. We'll be looking for this one to confirm here for a move to the downside. You can even look for 3 or for 1 hour setup there on chief yen. Looking very good, chief yen. Audi yen, just like Audi US dollar, has made the 3-wave pullback that we've been anticipating. It's going to make a move to the downside now. Any 1 hour correction, you can look to take it. We are still bearish the Audi yen as well as New Zealand yen. Okay, so that's why we only expected a pullback. Again, that structure that is still prevalent on Audi yen as well. So this is the structure, but we are getting an entry here. If this one comes down here, this is still a structural level. It can still push to the downside here around this level. Okay, so that is Audi yen. In New Zealand, we saw that it was not showing any strength last week. So even when the Audi was showing a bit of strength for a 3-wave pullback, this has been showing a deeper pullback here. When it's deeper like this, you know that it's not going to go anywhere. So that's the move down here. We'll look for this one to consolidate and continuation to the downside. Still bearish on New Zealand yen as well. And lastly, one on the yen pairs is a CAD yen structure, similar as well. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. There's a possibility for this one to bounce around this level, make a corrective structure, and continue to the downside as follows. Okay, remember again, the structure is still prevalent on CAD as well. Let's have a look at that daily structure. Look at that, it is still there. That is a move to the downside. That is that pullback. This is still showing us downside. Let's see how far this is going to go. That is an entry for continuation to the downside on CAD yen. All right, so that concludes the yen pairs. Let's have a look at gold. Now, gold, we have been consolidating around this structure for a while. I'm still on the daily chart here. This is a move on gold. That's a pullback. That's a move to the upside. Is that red candle the reversal that we were looking for gold to continue pushing to the downside? Okay, so that is what we'll be looking for on gold. Let's have a look at this in the lower degree. Before we go to the lower degree, the bigger structure on gold is this one. Let's draw it cleanly. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We're anticipating that this one makes 1, 2, 3 as well, but this still looks a bit small. Let's see if we're going to get an entry for downside. If we do get it, we'll get a structure like this, then we'll get a structure like that, then we'll have gold looking like an A, the whole purple degree becomes a B, and then we look for a C there on gold. So let's see here if we're going to get that entry here. That is what we are looking at there. Then we'll look at the 4-hour now. Let's see if there's any clues for downside there. Very likely that gold is going to start making a move to the downside. That is a nice 3-wave pullback around there, expanding flat, textbook expanding flat. So we're going to expect gold to continue lower like that. Let's see how that goes. That is gold. Silver obviously should give us the move to the downside because that's obviously correlated to gold. We've got a move to the upside. We should see silver do this. This is an impulse, so I'm expecting this to come down correctively so we can get a move, another move, possibly like this for a continuation to the downside. Okay, we'll be monitoring that in the coming week. Platinum, similar, bearish. We've got a pullback here. We could come down here with a corrective structure, pullback and continuation to the downside. We are bearish platinum, we are bearish the commodities as much as we have seen those pullbacks to the upside. We are also bearish oil as well. Right, on the 4-hour oil, we've made this impulsive move. We've made this impulsive move that looks like a big corrective structure. This looks like it's still going to continue to the downside correctively. We have been anticipating a move like this on oil. Will we get it? Because this looks like it's still going to continue to the downside. We may not even get this. So if we don't get that on oil, the move is this. That's a move. We could be getting this one to even come back and take this low here. What we are essentially looking for is to build up a structure eventually that will build up like this and continue to the upside. Why are we anticipating that? That is because we've got this bigger corrective structure here, bigger impulsive structure, not corrective structure here on oil. So that's the structure. I've shown this one on a couple of times. Just to remind you again, we've got a running flat there on this wave 4. You've got the zigzag here on wave 2. So you simply have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave impulse on oil. Now we're looking for a textbook corrective structure here, okay, and for this to continue to the upside afterwards. This may not even be enough. You may get a double correction like that, so you can get a WXY corrective structure on oil before pushing to the upside. So let's monitor this. Still bearish for now, so we still expect oil to do this to around this level, possibly even structure like that. Okay, we'll be monitoring that. Now let's have a look at the pound pairs. The pound pairs are straightforward. Last week you saw how we got this from right here at the top. Now they've dropped around here a couple of pips to the downside. That's a 400 pip move to the downside. We are now consolidating here. We are still expecting this to continue lower. So that's why I'm saying the pound pairs are straightforward. We've got a 3-wave move to the downside. We've got an impulse. This is an impulse that looks like is a 5-wave, so we are expecting 3 waves back. Possibilities are for this to bounce back up here again and give us a structure like this. But we're not going to focus so much on the on this future forecast here, because the accuracy that we can get, the closest accuracy that we get is the next immediate move, which is here, and we're going to look at that on the 4-hour. Let's have a look at it on the 4-hour. Now the 4-hour on pound AUD. Is this going to give us a pullback? This is where we are. Now, this looks like an expanding flat here. That's an expanding flat. We've got to move up in 3. We've got to move up here. So this could make a push to the upside here before the drop. So that's the structure that we're expecting on pound AUD, this to continue lower. Right, pound New Zealand. Pound New Zealand, we pinpointed the reversal for pound New Zealand here, but it has gone back up to around exactly the same level. We are still bearish pound New Zealand, but this one is not still showing a bit of strength. So we can get a different structure on pound New Zealand, and this is the structure that we could possibly get. We move down here. We could have this as an expanding flat. This is still pushing a little bit higher. Could be making a bigger expanding flat, and before we get a move to the downside like this. So we'll just be monitoring that. Pound AUD is clearer than pound New Zealand. Now we've got pound CAD. We have to start this one on the daily so we can get the structure right. Now pound CAD is showing strength to the upside. Initially, or last week, we're anticipating that after the drop here, this move here will continue to the downside, but the indicator is showing us that there is now strength on pound CAD. So this could now potentially push to the upside. Okay, so let's watch how this plays out. So this structure is still in the making, could be a bit complex, but let's give it a try. Let's give it a go and see if it will make sense at this stage, but still looks very in the very early stages of development, but it actually looks pretty clear. Let's have a look at this. Now let's have a look at this approach here. I'm on the daily chart. Let's have a look here. We'll have this one. It's a move to the upside. It's a move to the upside. So that's a 3-wave move. Got a 3-wave move. Now, if that is the case, that means we may still have, this is a 3-wave up, 3-wave up. We may have a pulsing move to the upside here like this. Then only we will have the purple degree here. So we're still going to be sideways for a while. So the structure here will be the purple, the bigger purple A. The whole yellow degree becomes B, and you've got a C to the downside here. Then we'll look for this one to continue to the upside, continue to the upside. So are we going to get this one here? We need to get that confirmation here. If we get that confirmation, the next stop is going to be around 82 on USDCHF. Now, what have I done here with the yellow degree? What I've done here is a simple textbook flat correction here as follows. That's a 335 textbook correction here with ABC 335 regular flat here in the B degree. That's what I've done. See, that's the approach we take here when we look at it. So that is pound CAD. We'll be anticipating a continuation move to the upside. Pound chief, need we talk more about pound chief? This has been bearish for some time now. This has now simply made a nice daily pullback, and we're still expecting this to push to the downside. Very risky to sell it here. Remember, you want to sell high and buy low, but here is very, as much as we're bearish, you don't want to sell this one so low, because at any time we may start seeing the reversal. Okay, so that is what we have on the 4 hour. We may start seeing this 3-wave pullback like that, and continuation to the downside. Right, that is pound chief. Let's go to the euro pairs, euro pound. Euro pound has made a 3-wave pullback. Now we are still bearish here, so even if we do that, we can still get a push to the upside here like this. Let's see how this plays out on the euro. Pound euro Audi will be exactly the same as a pound Audi. So let's see how this goes here. Are we getting this as a running flat? There's a possibility for us to get a running flat. We made a pulsing move. Remember, we pinpointed this one here last week as well. That's a running flat. We could start a move to the downside on the euro as well. Okay. Remember the daily, don't forget this, especially going into the new year. These are very important structures. There's 3 waves to the downside. That's a 3-wave pullback. We anticipate that we're going to have a move to the downside. It could also be a pullback and continuation to the downside, giving us this nice double corrective structure there, WXY on the euro. Euro New Zealand, just like pound New Zealand, showing some strength there. That looks like an impulsive move. So if that's an impulsive move, we'll anticipate that we get at least a pullback, not from current levels, but a bit of a push, and then we expect a pullback on Euro New Zealand. Euro CAD, a bit of strength here. Will we also see Euro CAD, just like pound CAD, continue to push to the upside and change the whole structure? This we need to get more data for the next coming session. Euro Chief, just like pound Chief, has been bearish. Okay, hopelessly bearish. As you can see, we've made a 3-wave pullback that was also very shallow. There is a textbook regular flat in the middle, and then we've got a zigzag here like that. So textbook stuff here, we're expecting this. It has become just so obvious. 3 pips there on Euro Chief. Okay, 3 pips every single time. 3 pips. This is what we've been selling every time we get a chance on Euro Chief. Just been giving us these opportunities. Right, so that is Euro Chief bearish. Let's go to the crosses.